Alright, so next up, board item 4.1, Norwalk Teachers Association negotiated agreement for July 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2028. We have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, roll call please.
Mr. Norris?
Yes.
Mrs. Burkett?
Yes.
Mrs. Crawford?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Ritzenthaler?
Yes.
Okay, 4.2, the Norwalk Public Library levy, resolution number 3, and related materials, additional 1.7 mil per permanent improvement levy, 30 years. Norwalk City School District is the taxing authority for the Norwalk Public Library. As such, the district is required to vote regarding placing the tax levy on the ballot if the library requests. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion.
So the Norwalk Public Library is a school district library. Different in Ohio, libraries are classified as different ones. Some of them are called county libraries, in which case the county that their main office is in would be their taxing authority. But the Norwalk Public Library is a school district library, and we are the taxing authority for them. You're also required to appoint their trustees, so that's why you do that. You know, you don't get to pick who it is, they pick who it is, but you are required to appoint them. You're also required to approve their budget if so needed, but the county budget commission has waived the regular budget, so you don't have to do that. So this is just one of the things that you're asked to do as a school board member.
Thanks, Joyce. Any other discussion? Okay, roll call please.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mrs. Burkett?
Yes.
Mrs. Crawford?
Yes.
Mr. Norris?
Yes.
Mr. Ritzenthaler?
Yes.
Alright, treasury reports.
Okay, so we have the minutes from May 14th, only one set of meetings to approve. Next, we have the May financial reports, and I did print them out and put them at your place so that you can look it over. We didn't have too much occurring in May. We did have 2 new investments. One of them was actually what's called, it's not a CD, it's a government agency, FHLMA, Federal Home Loans, which is a stepped up one. So depending on whether it goes the entire time, it gets a higher interest rate. So that's kind of exciting. We are finishing up the year. Of course, June 30th will be the end. We're pretty much on track. We're waiting to see. There's some things that have some revenue that has not come in yet. Our catastrophic costs we're still waiting on. We're not sure how much that's going to be in revenue. Our Medicaid program, we're looking for a settlement there around $119,000. We've got some severance payouts. I'm waiting to hear from the employees if they want that before June 30th or after into next school year. So we've got some variables out there yet. But we look like we're pretty much on track for what we were forecasted. Next, I would like to reduce the petty cash on hand to $150. We don't really use petty cash very much because we just don't use cash, but we do need it like for Grandparents' Day, for the cafeteria and things like that, or book fair, different things. We do have some cash at the board office to make change when people come to pay for their FBI and BCI checks, but we don't really need much, so I just thought, no point letting it just sit and save, so we're gonna reduce that. Then we have our final permanent appropriations and our temporary 26 appropriations. These are just year-end ones, and then we need temporary so that we have spending authority to start the next year. 5.5, we're gonna establish a 024 fund for employee benefits self-insurance. We're part of the Hussey Consortium now, but with negotiations, we've been talking about maybe looking at what our options are for health insurance going forward. And one of the things that we need to do, because we're self-insured, is we need to be able to cover our claims going forward if we were to do something different with our health insurance. So I'd like to set aside, we were putting money into the severance benefits funds for when our staff retired. We've got a little bit of money built up into that, so we can start paying severance on that. So I'd like to switch that, and instead of putting the money in there, build up a little bit in the employee benefits fund so that we're able to be on solid footing if we decide to make a change with our health insurance. So
That's a great idea.
that's what I thought there. School bus bid, we do need one wheelchair bus. We are on, the state highway patrol pulled the sticker on one of the wheelchair enabled school buses, so we really need another one. We're also looking at being able to do our own transportation. We have 3 to 5 students going outside of the district to special schools, and we've had to arrange outside transportation for them because we don't have a way of getting them there with what we currently have for vehicles. So we wanted to have a wheelchair-enabled bus that would be able to go there. And And then maybe after this, look at getting like a smaller, 9 to 12 passenger van to be able to transport our students in, but we thought we'd start with the wheelchair bus because we do need it, for our students.
Why did they pull the sticker for the?
They tend to be, the state highway patrol tends to be super picky about school buses. I mean, for good reason, of course,
Okay.
but it doesn't really take much. I don't know what the actual reason was, but they inspect them on a regular basis, and they've been saying, that it was like getting close to where they were gonna pull the sticker so that, I mean, it's roadworthy, you can drive it, they just don't want students on it. So that's what, when they pull the sticker, it means you can't transport students on it.
So there's no students that, what are they gonna do with that bus?
Well, we have a really good bus mechanic. Hopefully
Well, I know
hopefully the state highway patrol let him know what needs to be fixed with it,
Okay.
you know.
I didn't know if it was a permanent.
No, usually he can fix them up, but it's still probably at the point where we need a new one. We haven't had a wheelchair bus in, gosh, I don't even know, I bet it's been 8 years, since we got our last new
Really?
one. We have 3 right now, but we have a lot of students in wheelchairs, so
Right.
we need, and they don't always, you know, go to the same schools or the same grade, you know, so you can't always, use one bus for all students,
Right.
wheelchair students, you know. So there's that, but I think last time it was like maybe he needed to beef up the frame or put the floor in, or but he did get it.
It's time for new bus.
To be roadworthy, but Anthony's very good at that, so. But it's time, we need some more buses in general. You know, the state quit funding school bus purchases, and they only funded 2 of them in the last probably 8 years. Buses are expensive, they're probably up to about $160,000 now for a regular bus. We've been looking, because we do need some, about maybe trying to get multiple number of buses, like 4 to 6 buses, and then do like a lease purchase agreement where we just pay off over time, pay for the buses, because we don't have enough money to buy 6 buses all at once, but we really need to up our fleet and get them a little newer, because we're getting a little behind.
Now, is that something that if we sold property, like,
So yes, we certainly could, because when we sell property, it has to go into the permanent improvement fund, that's the only thing you can do with it. And the permanent improvement fund can be used for purchasing a school bus,
okay.
so yes. So that is something in future we'll be able to do.
So buses and a track.
So that's all I have for you this month.
Choice.
Next month will be the big month, when we close the year.
Is there a motion to approve items 5.1 through 5.6 under treasurer reports? Second? Second. Any other discussion? Roll call please.
Mr. Norris?
Yes.
Mrs. Burkett?
Yes.
Mrs. Crawford?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Ritzenbaugh?
Yes.
Personnel?
Yeah, we have Lois Wardner. She made the decision, wanted to go to custodian. She was special needs 8, so Tim and Corey interviewed her and they selected her. So she's a very hard worker, shows up every day. So she's one that you could put in any position would be ideal. And obviously the custodian, we are excited for her to make that move. Excited here on 6.2, we have employment of Joseph Ludwig, intervention specialist. Joe is here, so he is a trucker grad. He has 6 years experience, so he was at New London for 3 years and Sandusky City for the last 3.
My neighbor.
Why is he on there?
Yeah, not too long ago.
So speaking of track, he and his wife know
I
something
know.
about track.
Saw him at the track last
And they-
weekend.
Yeah, they were at state, and so yeah, very excited. So anything you want to say to the board here?
I'm just excited to be back home, and, you know what I mean, I've been a lifelong member of Norwalk, so it's, you know what I mean, it's good to be back, and, it's good to be home and make a positive change and difference in our community, for sure.
Thanks for being here.
Welcome back.
And he knows who he's working with, like he is with the A team, when you look at so Lindsay Hyman, Mrs. Dowdy, Lambert, like go right through everyone at our building, like it's a strong group, so he's got experience, under his belt, but obviously still learning, still young, and he's got a great group he's gonna be working with, and he knows that because they were part of first round interview with him, so,
Yeah,
yeah, so glad you're here, and congratulations.
thank you.
If they say yes to you, which we haven't got to that point. Michelle Beverly, Transportation Aide, Step 0, probationary contract. 6.3, we have one resignation, Terry Snyder. She's been with us for a very long time as a library assistant. So Mr. Bauman has worked with her and is very impressed with her, and we'll miss her and the services she does with our kids in the library setting. 6.4, we have stipend for kindergarten screening. So that's outside the teacher contract. That's listed August 5, 2025. So that's a handful, as you see, of our Maplehurst staff listed there. 6.5, Savannah Golan, that's an extended year, working with a particular student, effective June 2nd, 2025. 6.6, employment of support services, so this is doing the league and main moves, this is mowing, all the things that have to happen to make our district in the good shape and keep it in the good order it needs to be in. So you have a mix there, you have a teacher, you have a bus driver, you have college graduates, or you have college students, and you have just recent high school graduates. So we have quite the range there of people working together, but if you know those individuals, I won't read through the name, but you know that's a good group of people there. 6.7, stipend for staff completing Project Lead the Way. That will be paid out of the Title II-A funds as well. 6.8 is supplemental contracts, so that is looking from advisor positions as well as coaching positions. So you have high school listed there. You have pupil activity contracts, so those that are not teachers or staff members. With girls basketball, an assistant robotics advisor. At Norwalk Middle School, you have two that are not trucker employees, and Jim Hager and Ryan Eastman. 6.10 is employment of Megan Hazelwood. She is going to be a home instruction tutor. So if you know Mark, that is his wife. So she'll be working with a student. 6.11, we have a volunteer soccer coach in Bella Kelch, who you just shook hands with. So she was one of our strong soccer players, so she is going to help Coach Sander continue the strong girls program. So that's what I have for personnel.
Thanks, Mr. Cooley. Is there a motion to approve items 6.1 through 6.11 under personnel? Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
How did the new kindergarten screening go?
But teachers were very satisfied with it.
A lot
So,
better than what it was?
What they were allowed to do is obviously what they said is having time with kids. Because you basically run kids, as I probably can look at you and you can explain better than I can here, running through the battery of tests. And like you do that, so you have scores in front of you, and then the kid is gone with mom, dad, grandma, grandpa. And here's like, you're actually seeing kid in play time, and like that matters. And it matters then like how those classrooms are selected then as well.
Much better than what it was.
So I had positive, all the teachers that I had. Anything else that you talked to teachers that you want to add, Mr. Bowman?
No, that was it. They were very pleased.
Yeah, so I
It went
see
smoothly.
this continuing. Awesome. For sure, yeah.
Does he have a candidate from now until school starts, the ones that were enrolled late?
The ones that come here, it's not gonna be the same, so it'll be
It'll
like
just be the
yeah,
normal,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. And we had, so a combination of that, as you know, we had kindergarten graduation here, so new here, so we put classes together, and we did it in 2 sessions rather than, several classes and being very congested at the Maplehurst. So you had a little more room and space, so that worked well. So that was kind of the combination of kids are finishing up here, and then those kindergarten teachers in that final week of school having time with our newest ones. So
Any other discussion? Roll call please.
Mr. Norris?
Yes.
Mr. Ritzenthaler?
Yes.
Mrs. Burkett?
Yes.
Mrs. Crawford?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Superintendent's report.
yeah, so these contracts are looking forward to the new school year, new stories, school agreement. 7.2 is NOECA technology staff. So as you know, we have Jen Gerber that runs Point there, and then these are 3 that are paid through NOECA. They've been with us for a very long time. Chris Adams, Tim Lovato, and Kyle Shine. So we have a strong team, and obviously the size of our district, we need those. So those are the ones that actually are boots on the ground and making things happen within the classrooms and building-wide. 7.3 is the NOECA member service agreement. So that is the services that we have through them for the coming year. 7.4, agreement with Fisher Tice Medical Center for athletic training services through, so this is a 3-year contract, and that was sent to you today. So we have been in discussion with Ashley Bala and those at Fisher Titus, because that has been, there's a massive increase in the cost of those services. We are very pleased with the trainer that we have. And when you look at what we're paying, like, we know it's a good deal. It was a shock to the system as from the district standpoint, from Josh Slaughter's standpoint, because the increase was close to 250%. But we can't argue against the value that we're getting from Fisher Titus and the person that serves us. So when we do that, we did negotiate, so we have a price point for next year, and then the next 2 years will be a consistent pricing. So that's at $24,000 for this coming year, and then $30,000 for the second, third year of this contract. So, like I said, we talk with them, they work with us, and we understand. You know, we understand financially it's tight everywhere, and Fisher Titus has their line, we have our line. So it's great that Fisher Titus, that Martin Linder, Norwalk Catholic, he came to my office. We had 3 from Fisher Titus came to my office, and we were able to sit down at a table and talk these things through. So you actually understand, like, here's their bottom line, here's what they're having to do, and what they're having to meet, and what we are as a school district as well. So I applaud Fisher Titus and our ability to work with them and sit down at the table to have those discussions, knowing that, yeah, it might be a little more pay than we want to do, but we understand that's the climate, that's what we need to face, that's what we have now, so.
Now, in that increase, are we gonna see an increase in services, or?
Well, we essentially have a full-time
Full-time
employee
person.
in who we have right now.
Okay.
So if you're saying that for what we pay, you know, that's not paying a salary, that's not paying full benefits, that's not paying those, so. It's not a money-making venture by any means. Anybody at Fisher Titus would say that for athletic services.
Right.
They do like, obviously, to serve area schools, because that community network and having that connection, they like to have their people within our schools, so.
Just knowing what we're paying.
Right, right.
Okay.
Last one there is handbook, Norwalk High School's handbook. We'll be having the other building handbooks in the next month. So that's when that's coming. There was not a lot, if you looked at the language there that Mr. Kane has submitted, the yonder pouch and some of those things were post when you approved the previous year, so that's all detailed in that now. So other than that, most of the thing is just jiving with legal that it needs to follow. So that's all I have. Alice?
Is there a motion to approve items 7.1 through 7.5 under superintendent's report? Second? Second. Discussion?
How are we doing with the yonder pouches? Did we lose any, or?
The report on that, well, you have kids, and then you speak to it.
Yeah, no,
And then I'll listen to what you say, and then I'll say my response.
No, I was just saying, my son lost one. So
You lost one?
yeah, I think I ran over in the parking lot, he told me. And, but I think all in all, I think, for the kids, I don't know that they love them, but I think it's a good idea.
I don't know, I think,
Yeah. The fact that people are making eye contact again, that's like,
Yeah.
what do I have when I
Yeah.
walk through a building? Because before, like, I'm not looking at you. I am looking at my phone, whether it's like, I'm anxious, I don't know you, I don't want to say anything to you, but now you're getting back to what, even if I don't know you, like the hello, how are you, like those basic things that we think are like, right.
You know?
So I think that's from a teacher standpoint, I think kids even know that. Like, as much as you say, like, I want to be on my phone and stare at my phone all the time, like, kids realize, like, I feel better when I get to talk and see people and not stare at an electronic device. So as much as, like, yeah, you feel that, like, that pull, that magnetic, like, gravity or whatever pull to, like, I need to look at, like, I think people feel better about it, but I'm sure,
I'd rather keep.
yeah.
The only complaint I heard is that they couldn't bling it out or whatever,
Bedazzled.
well, dazzle or whatever it's
Bedazzle.
called, I don't know. That was the only complaint I heard in my household, but, I mean, after the initial shock of it being introduced, it was not a
Right.
problem.
Not bad.
No.
And you look, most kids, like, they were routine as they were coming in, coming out, and,
Yeah.
you could say, like, well, those that had the second phone, or I tricked because I put the one in the, like, you can have all these games in place, but, like, people, they follow those rules. So like all things, when you have a number of kids in a building, like, there's one or two that will try something, like, oh, I got away with it, but all in all, the point of doing this was well received. So,
So I guess the only thing that I have even a comment or a concern on is having the Norwalk High School handbook already on here. I know that there's language in there about the diploma holding with balances. I don't wanna necessarily take the handbook off, but I wanna make sure that we have some time to come up with a different solution with Joyce and make sure that that's in play. I know that we kind of thought that already happened and then it was really close to graduation and I don't wanna I don't wanna do that mistake again. So whatever your thoughts are on that, I'm fine with it being on here, but I still wanna come up with a better written solution before next year.
Yeah, I think we got a notification for like $2 from like 8 years ago. You know,
I
like,
thought it only happened
what are we
to
talking
me.
about? Yeah. So
Weird,
it's,
I got the same thing, you know, so I thought that I was the only person that happened to, but, yeah, so I guess.
Yeah, the small things, the difficult ones are, like, the kids have taken College Credit Plus, like, those are the difficult ones, like, you have not done what you needed to do, and now you owe a decent amount. Those are different than the small ones that add up over time, like, you expect, like, you haven't done anything, so to say, like, that charge, like, yeah, you need to pay that, because that's what's on the books, like, those are critical. But like I said, we have people in this district, as you know, like, we take care of people.
Yeah.
So if it's ever a need-based, whether it be there, we've talked athletics, the other night, we've talked that about, should there be, athletic fees and those things. Like, those are all things we discuss, because financially, like, we're having to discuss these things, but none of us want to start charging things when people have not had to pay those things. So none of us like to address it, but, like, we know, just like the athletic services with Fisher Titus, like, yeah, financially, it's tight in every organization.
My concern is not the balance owed, my concern is who is then responsible for balance owed. So, no matter how much I agree with the Credit Plus program, that they're almost an adult and they're making that decision if they don't finish that class, there's already an agreement signed by the parent, making them to fully understand that. Like you said, I don't think that it even happens, but I would like, so there's no, later on, it wasn't clear, I would like to make it clear that if there is a balance and the student is under 18, and it was accrued before they were 18, that is the legal guardian's responsibility for that balance, and we are not gonna hold a diploma because of something that they did not decide to not pay. I don't, like you said, I don't think that it's been held for years, from my understanding, from what Mr. Kane has said, but I just don't want that to be part of our policy. And I think the board all feels the same, correct? So I think that we can come up with a policy, even if it's, it now says instead of a diploma being held, you'll be sent to collections. I mean, a student has done everything to earn that diploma academically, and I think that shouldn't be what's on stake if something's not held. Because a lot of times, we talk about balances, and there's been, school lunch balances. Now, we haven't had to have that problem in the last few years, but they could have been accrued since kindergarten if they didn't fill out the forms, because we're never going to let a student not eat. I think there's just some things we can do to try to help that, but I personally I think that a student earns a diploma, they get the diploma. But I think it's not just mine, I think that's the collective
And it's
feeling.
I think Mr. Katie said, it's the physical document, because no one going to college, no one going to work is being withheld that. Like, those are all being sent, so it's the physical document itself.
Right.
Because no one, like, sorry, you're applying for a position, you're not gonna, like, all those things are being
Yeah, the
sent.
transcripts.
Yeah, everything
Right,
is going
right.
out, so it's really like in our electronic world, it is like, it's the physical document that you may look at or you may never look at again, but it's there in your hand.
Any other discussion on that, just everyone feel?
Is there any other place that language, is in, outside of the handbook, is it in all of the handbooks? So if, for some reason we're denied the CEP program, which I know that it's impossible, and that, lunch charges do accrue, do parents know the consequences of not paying that?
Yeah, I don't know the timing, we'll know those in the sequence of this. Like, those are things like you may have to go back and say, in August, that we're addressing because now we know.
Sure.
But that's a lot of things we're doing that we're having to make decisions, and we don't know the final answer yet. And we don't know, and I'll look to
Right.
our treasurer here to say, like, that's finality, that, we don't know that. So
No, but is it documented anywhere other than the high school handbook, do we know?
Because I was gonna say, absolutely not, it's tied to graduation, but you're
Oh,
saying just
I see.
the, like.
Yeah, just the your parents know, can they get ahead, like, or do they think, oh, well, they're just getting their peanut butter sandwich, they'll be fine, you know what I mean? Like, just being given that heads up, like, hey, like, this is accruing, and we do need to pay this, there are consequences, it might be 12 years down the road, but just stay ahead of it.
And I'm wondering too, like, not that I thought, since it happened to Mr. Norris here too, maybe we could do some end of the year finalization other than just graduation. Each year we finalize any balances and send out some kind of notification, so don't get the $7 charge from freshman year.
So like
senior
the
year.
buildings do that, but that would come from the building secretary out of Dazzle, is that right, Mr.
Mhm.
Bowman?
Like for lost library books and other, yes,
Does that go like with report cards or something?
yes.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
It should be.
But anything we can do just to improve that communication and then change maybe how that policy's, carried out. So I guess to me, like I said, the point of that discussion was, I want to be able to approve this, I don't want to remove it for approval, but I want to be able to, maybe amend it.
But you want the language taken out?
Yes. And then we can come up with a policy though, we need to finalize a policy that we all agree upon and have it in writing so that there's so like Mr. King just said to me on the phone, he doesn't care what it is, he just wants a clear idea of what he should do.
Right.
So I want to make sure that we initiate that, we don't just have this discussion and then not create that policy. Great. Any other discussion on superintendent's report? All right, roll call please.
Mr. Norris?
Yes.
Mrs. Burkett?
Yes.
Mrs. Crawford?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Etzenthaler?
Yes.
All right, board discussions and comments.
So Energy Optimizers has been working in our building, and I will do a handoff to Mr. Bowman on this. So you had the opportunity to tour our cafeteria, so we're doing the flush-mounted LED lights. We are gonna have totally redone Fisher Tice Learning Center as well. So all the hanging lights, they're gonna disappear, so that'll look different. So yeah, Mr. Bowman, if you wanna say
Yeah.
like what they're.
Yeah, the cafeteria lighting is done. We still need to go back and do some painting, on the coves or whatever you want to call it. We did have a fire in there, what has it been, 3 years now? So we had to change out some ceiling tile and stuff, but the lighting's pretty impressive. It's all LED, it really brightens it up quite a bit. And the same will be here. The next phase, I believe they're going to go to the library and in the foyer, replacing some of the can lights and the ceiling fixtures as you come in. I think maybe 15 or 20 in the library, so it's a big improvement. Saving a lot of money on bulbs, because those are, within, I think it's 10 years.
Yeah.
But we go through a lot of the fluorescent bulbs. So
And
not
not
only,
that, they're supposed to last for the 10 years. If they don't last for the 10
Yes.
years, they supply the bulb. So,
yes. And not only that, but the amount of time, for our custodial staff and maintenance staff to change bulbs. So,
And this is the final of the spaces, correct?
this will be the last, yes, because some of the other plans for, the LGI here, beyond with the lighting.
So the combination with that, so the drop will be gone, and then we are using some of our grant monies through Ernsthausen, and that'll be changing the monitors, some access there as far as like, instead of like rolling a Clever Touch, those things are on the wall. So we have so many outside groups, community groups that use this space that we need to bring it up to speed, because I know when I was hired here and started here like a year after this is brand new, you knew this, like, this was state of the art. Like, I was coming down here for anatomy and physiology classes, observing, like, we were having hip replacement surgery up here. So our A&P kids were watching that, and like, that was state of the art things. And so there's things tech-wise, we need to bring this up to speed. And like I said, it is used by a lot of people, all of our construction, different firms, like, they use this, and our kids use a lot, so.
Yeah. And I did also with the EPAC, the foyer coming in, all those lights are going to be replaced. And again, this will be the last because all of the ceiling tiles will be out as they do the rewiring. So that's a good time to do the other, part of the project.
So clearly this focus, like spending, investing our money in this building, knowing that we're not wanting to do it in the other 5 kid buildings, but we have to make sure it's safe and good order for the next 4 years. But this is clearly because we know this will extend beyond that 4-year life of all things we're doing here.
We'll be able to dim the lights here and keep the lights on up there, and it'll be pretty impressive.
Now I'm excited to see what the electric bill does.
Yeah,
It's
and
gonna be
too.
amazing.
The other thing to report, we have, the move has happened, so the transition from the league and main swap, that's been happening, so that's been going well. So we have several classrooms that have been completely shifted, main to league, so that's 6th grade to league, and 4th grade moving to main, that's happened. So as they basically clean their space and do the waxing, once that's good, they move the things in. So kind of a team approach, and that's getting handled very well, so.
That's gonna be great.
And that is all I have.
Any other board discussion? So motion to adjourn. Second?
Second.
Roll call please.
Mr. Norris?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mrs. Burkett?
Yes.
Mrs. Crawford?
Yes.
Mr. Witzendahl?
Yes.
Thank you.